But today our scripture is going to come from Ruth chapter 4. We're going to be reading Ruth chapter 4, verses 5 through 8. Then said Boaz, what day thou buyest the field of the hand of Naomi, thou must also buy it of Ruth the Moabitess, the wife of the dead, to raise up the name of the dead upon his inheritance. And his kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. Redeem thou my right to thyself, for I cannot redeem it. Verse 7, now this was the manner in former time in Israel concerning redeeming and concerning changing. For to confirm all things, a man plucked off his shoe and gave it to his neighbor. And this was a testimony in Israel. Therefore the kinsman said unto Boaz, buy it for thee. So he drew off his shoe. And if I could use for a subject message today, I would like to use, let it go. Let it go. And most of us know many sermons have been preached about and taught about Boaz and Ruth, so much to the point we find ourselves encouraging single women that are looking for that special someone to love by using the love story of Boaz and Ruth. If we focus on acquiring, and most of the time when we try to use that as encouragement, we focus more so on the young lady changing her last name to whatever her Prince Charming is going to be. So whatever her Prince Charming's last name is, that's where we put the most emphasis at. We put the emphasis on acquiring his last name. And when we put the emphasis on acquiring our Prince Charming's last name, it is easy to overlook the name that makes all things possible. It is easy to overlook the name that can change the character of the bad boy that you want to the prayer partner that you need. Did anybody just catch that? If we focus on just us changing our last name, my name is not Miss Beneman anymore. My name is Miss Corbett. If that's all we focus on, then we lose focus on the more important fact that it is God. It is the name of Jesus that can change my bad boy's nature into my praying partner. Come on here. So no doubt that Boaz and Ruth honored each other. And they not only honored each other, but they both honored God. If you want to know how your God man or your God woman is going to honor you, then you need to pay close attention at how they honor God with their lives. Though Boaz and Ruth had plenty of opportunities to do other things and conduct themselves in a manner that would not please and reflect God, they both chose to conduct themselves in a manner that would reflect their commitment to God. Is there any women that says, I'm looking for a man that's going to help me, come on, honor my commitment to God? I ain't got to cut no corners. I ain't got to do nothing but just honor God. I'm looking for that person who's going to enhance my relationship with God. But in those times, it was customary that when a man died and was without a child, his next of kin would claim the deceased family's member's land and his wife. So basically, if a male family member had passed away and he did not have any children, his next of kin was responsible for redeeming and being the kinsman redeemer, the one that would actually buy the property. And with the property also came the wife, and he also not only took on the responsibility of the wife, he also took on the responsibility of preserving that man's posterity. So he was supposed to have children with the wife in honor of the husband that had died. And that responsibility, the person that fulfilled that responsibility was called a goel or gall, Goel. meaning that he was the kinsman's redeemer. He would take over the responsibility of the property and the posterity of the person that had passed away. And Naomi is a woman, and she has lost, not only has she lost her husband, but she has also lost her two sons. So she is dealing with three deaths back to back. She lost her husband, and then she also lost her two sons. But both of her sons had wives. And one of the sons had a wife named Orpah, and the other one had a wife named Ruth. And Naomi, understanding that she was past childbearing age and she could no longer produce children or have children, she tried to convince her two daughter-in-laws that they needed to go back to the country of Moab, and they needed to go back into their own country so they could live their lives there. And after some time, Orpah, she decided that she would go back, but Ruth, she had a firm stance in staying with Naomi. She kept telling Naomi kept trying to tell her, you need to go back, you need to go back. And Ruth finally got a little bit aggressive, and she said, look, just stop telling me to go back. She said, I'm not going back. I need for you to understand that I am not leaving you. Your God is going to be my God, and we are going to serve our God, and we're going to live this thing out called life together. It's one thing, and I need for you to understand, it's one thing to have somebody with you when you have something to offer them. But it's a whole different type of comfort and security when you no longer have what you used to have, but they said, I'm still gonna ride. Is anybody looking for some riders? I might go up and down sometimes, but I'm looking for somebody who's still going to ride with me through the good and through the bad. Can you ride with me? Are there any people that say, God, I don't see you like I used to see you, but I'm still going to ride. It don't even feel like it used to feel, but God, I'm still going to rise. I'm still going to ride. God, I don't even feel the way I used to feel, but I'm still gonna ride. It ain't even happening as fast as it used to happen for me, God. It seems like it's taking longer and I'm getting tired along the journey, but I'm still gonna ride. Is there anybody that made up their mind that I'm still gonna ride with him? Things ain't been going the way that I thought they should go, but I'm still gonna ride. God, I'm still gonna ride. If that's you, just type it over in the chat section. God, I'm still gonna ride with you. I'm still gonna ride with you. It ain't about the stuff. God, I'm still going to ride with you. It ain't even about how I feel right now, but I'm still going to ride with you. That's what Ruth did, considering and concerning Naomi. She said, God, she said, look here, mother-in-law. She said, look here, mother. I know what you saying, and I know you keep telling me you can't have no more children and all this other stuff, but I just need to let you know I'm still going to ride. I'm still going to ride with you. And nevertheless, they go to Bethlehem, and the people are excited to see Naomi. Naomi, no doubt, had a good reputation to the point that when the people of Bethlehem saw her, they was excited to see her. You know how we do when it's somebody that we haven't seen in a long time, and now we finally get to see them. Hey, girl, how you doing? You know, we do something like that. That's how Naomi was greeted. She was greeted with such a delight, and her name, actually, Naomi, means pleasant and delight. And Naomi was dealing with the tragedy of losing her husband and her two sons, to the point that when they called her and they was excited to see her, they said, hey, Naomi, how you doing? We hadn't seen you in a long time. We're so glad to see you with your blessed self. Naomi's response to them was, Naomi said, don't call me Naomi. She said, call me Mar, which means bitter. She was dealing with such hurt and such frustration that she told them, she said, don't even call me as you see me. She said, call me according to how I feel. Have you ever went through something that you didn't feel like you were who God said you were? You looked at the bills and you said, ain't no way in the world I can be blessed. You didn't get the job. Ain't no way in the world I can be favored. I just had to borrow $20 for some gas. There's no way in the world I can be the lender when I feel like I am the tail. Can anybody relate to that? I don't even feel like who God says I am. I'm struggling at this point. I wish there was another name that I could come up with just to be able to identify with how I feel, because there's times I go through stuff that I don't even feel like I am who God says I am, because my situations got me all twisted. But though Naomi was in a place that we can all understand and relate to, Naomi knew the place that she was in. But Naomi, she also recognized, come on here, I need for somebody to catch this. Naomi understood that she was in a hard place, but Naomi also understood the season that she was in. And I just stopped by to tell somebody, just because I am in a hard place does not mean that I am not in my season of harvest. Come on here. Because as we look at the scriptures and as we keep reading the scriptures, it tells us that Naomi recognized that she was in a season. She was in a season of harvest. She was in a season of harvest, so much to the point that she told Ruth, she said, go ahead and go out and glean in the field, because even though we're in a hard place, I do recognize the season that I'm in. I just need for somebody to catch that, because you know that you are in a hard place, but just because you are in a hard place, do you also recognize the season that you are in? I can still get something out of this. I just need for somebody to type that over in the chat section. I can still get something out of this. I'm in a hard place and it don't feel good. You know, when something is hard, it does not feel good. But the thing is, your season is not determined by the place that you are in. Uh, your season is not predicated on the place that you are in. So much so that Naomi, she tells Ruth, she says, go and glean in the field. And Ruth goes and she gleans in a field, not knowing that she is in a field that is going to change her life. I just also came to tell somebody, don't despise being in the field, because the field can change your life. And she is in the field of Boaz, and Boaz is a wealthy, not only is Boaz wealthy, but you know, the women can relate to this. Boaz is not only wealthy, but Boaz is fine as well. So he got it going on. He's fine as well. And he takes notice of her while she is picking up scraps in the field, and he finds out who she is, and he grants her special privileges. He grants her special privileges. I just want my single women to know that this woman has not done anything but operate according to the instructions that God was giving her mother-in-law to give to her. And she was operating in obedience. And he still found favor in her. Come on here. She didn't have to give him nothing, but he found favor in her. She didn't have to make a late night trip over to his house, but he still found favor in her and gave her special privileges. I just need for my single women to type it over there. I'm going to get them special privileges. That should encourage you right there, because society and certain people's opinions had told you that you need to do it a certain way, but I'm trying to show you that she didn't have to get it that way. I'm gonna get them special privileges. And she goes back to her mother-in-law's house, and she tells her mother-in-law all about what Boaz had bestowed upon her, and all the favor that he has showed her. And Naomi, knowing her kinspeople, she knows that Boaz has the ability to redeem them. He has the ability to buy back the land that she has sold. So what Naomi does is she instructs Ruth on how to get Boaz's attention on the matter of kinsmanship. Ruth does exactly what Naomi is telling her. And as she gets to the place where Boaz is, and I'm giving you a backstory before we get to our subject message, but when she gets to where Boaz is, she tells Boaz, she says, spread your garment around me. And basically that was signifying that he was claiming her. And Boaz informs Ruth, he says, as much as I would like to, there is an order that I must follow. I hope you single women caught that. And also our single men, just because you can doesn't mean that you should. Come on. He said, as much as I would like to, he said, there is an order that I have to follow. I can't even do what I want to do. I got money. I'm fine. I look good. I smell good. My swag is tight. But I can't even do this. He said, none of that matters when it comes down to order. Trust me, I want you just as bad as you want me. But there's just some things we can't do. And he lets her know that there is another relative that takes priority over himself. The problem is that some of us are expecting order when we are out of order. It's a hard thing to expect things to be in place when we are out of place. If I tell you that I'm going to meet you in McDonald's parking lot, by all means, please don't be at Carl's Jr. Because sometimes we're looking for certain things, but we're out of place. But Boaz knew order. And he said, if the first kinsman, if the first man in line that can do this, if he does not do this, what Boaz told her was, he said, don't hesitate. He said, because you ain't going to have to wait long. He said, because I'm going to be right there waiting to step up. I need for some of y'all single women to know that there is, your God man is waiting. Come on here. He's waiting. He's waiting for order. You thought something was wrong with you. No, he's waiting for order. I hope that's encouraging some of you. You thought something was wrong with you. You thought that you had to turn tricks. No, he just waiting on order. If my single women caught that, just give me a virtual hand wave. Say, I got that. I got that. I got that. I got that. He's just waiting on order. And he said, if this man does not do it, you can rest assured that I'm coming through, baby. I'm going to come through and show up for you. And Boaz goes to the place where judicial matters. And in the scripture, it says that it's at the gate of the city. And at the gate of the city is the place where judicial matters are resolved amongst the prestigious and the men of integrity. And that man that had priority over Boaz, he was at the gate. And Boaz and Ruth are talked about more than the man is. But what the man did, what the first man did that had priority, what he did should deeply be considered for life's application with a high regard. We get excited about Boaz. We get excited about the whole Ruth story. But very little emphasis is put on the man who made it all possible. Come on here. I'm going to say that again. We get excited about Ruth. We get excited about Boaz. But we don't get excited about the man that made it possible. So, some of you single women, y'all need to be excited that that man messed up, because it puts you in position to receive your Boaz. Come on here. But very little emphasis is put on him. Some of y'all need to be excited that the girl did mess up, that the woman did mess up, because it puts you in position for your Ruth. You've been beating yourself up thinking that you failed at something, thinking that you lost something. No, that was God strategically putting things in place just to make sure that he was about to set you up to get what he had promised you. So some of y'all need to send them a spiritual thank you card. Thank you for messing this up, bro. Thank you. I really appreciate that. It hurted now, but thank you for messing that up, because I'm on my way. I'm on my way now. And Boaz sees the man that has priority over him. And the scriptures even said, and you go to the translation of it, Boaz said, hey, Mr. So-and-so, you know Naomi is back from Moab, and she sold her land that belonged to our brother, her husband. I just wanted to let you know that you are next in line. Look at what he's doing now, even though he wanted something so bad, because you have to understand this, the love story of Ruth and Boaz, or Boaz and Ruth, to the point that he wanted her and she wanted him, but they still wouldn't get together because they knew that if they got together, it would be out of order. Boaz said, I got to follow order on this. And so he tells the man, he says, you know, you're next in line. You can have it if you want it. In the back of his mind, he's really saying, I hope you don't want it because I'm ready. How many of us single women, how many of y'all single women know that your Boaz is ready? He ready. He ready. But he got to follow order. And he said, I just want to let you know that you're in line to buy it back. But just in case, I need to serve this PSA on you. Just in case, if you drop the ball on this, guess what? Your boy gonna pick it up. I'm ready to pick it up. And Boaz begins to tell him, he said, the land that our brother had is up for sale, and you know we need to get it back, and you're next in line to get it. And the kinsman said, I'll take the land. He agreed to take the land. And then Boaz said, oh, but it's just not a land deal, it's a package deal. And what comes along with the package, I need for my single women to understand. Some of y'all been worried because you said, I got packages with me. I got one baby, I got two babies, I got three babies. And what man is going to want the whole package? I came to serve notice on you. There is a Boaz that will take the whole package. And the kinsman said, Boaz is telling the kinsman, he said, look, he said, you just can't take the land, but you got to take Ruth with it. The kinsman knew that he could take the land if he just had to consider Naomi, because by law, he did not have to marry Naomi because she was beyond childbearing years. So that was a no-brainer. I'll take it. But on the other hand, she also, remember, she had two sons, and one of the daughter-in-law went with her. So that means she was a part of the package as well. And basically, Naomi was younger. I'm sorry, Ruth was younger than Naomi. And she was younger, and he said, look, she that bae type of girl, and she fertile. You got to take her too, to preserve Mahlon's posterity. That's a part of the responsibility. The kinsman is sitting there and he's like, I ain't signed up for this. Now the land, I can handle. I can deal with the land. I can even deal with Naomi. But Ruth, I ain't signing up for all of that. I ain't signing up for all of that. So, Boaz is excited now because that's all he needed to do was to follow order. And he said, well, you cannot have the land without taking on Naomi. I told you she bae type, and she fertile, and she fine too, bruh. But if you don't want this, I'll step up. I'll step up to the plate. I'll step up to the plate. And the man is considering, but I need for you to understand the man's thinking process. And in order for me to be able to help you understand that, I need for you to understand what he was actually having to process, the information that he was having to process. Because in those times, it was custom that if a man refused to take on his brother's property and take responsibility for the posterity of his brother's legacy, all of this is happening in a public setting. So it's not something that's done in a lawyer's office. It's not something that's done behind closed doors. It's out in the open that everybody can see. And so whenever you would not accept responsibility for your brother's honor and your brother's posterity and property, you were looked at as a dishonorable man. Not only are you looked at as a dishonorable man in the sight of everybody that's watching. According to the law of that time, the woman was supposed to walk up to you, because I'm trying to give you an idea at what this man is having to process on the spot as he's getting ready to make his decision. The woman is supposed to walk up to him, and she is supposed to unlace his shoes. Not only is she supposed to unlace his shoes, but she is also supposed to spit in his face. Oh my God. Now, I know some of us, I hope some of you that needed it took your blood pressure pills this morning, because y'all know what's about to go down if somebody spit on you, right? You know what's about to happen. That is one of the most dishonorable things that you can do to a person. And by all means, not in my face. But by law, that's what she was supposed to do. If he declined the right or the privilege to take her on and redeem her, if he did that, that was customary, that those things were supposed to happen. And then not only are those things supposed to happen, he is supposed to, from here on out, be called the man that would not honor his brother. So he lost his identity. Watch this. He lost his identity. He lost his reputation. And he is now considered dishonorable. So while this kinsman is having to make this decision, are y'all following me at what he is having to process and deal with as he's getting ready to make his decision? Can you see the picture a little bit clearer? And he's having to factor in all of these things at the spare of the moment. So much to the point that as he's factoring it in front of all of these prestigious people, because you know we like to keep it together for people. We like for it to be buttoned up in front of people because we don't want them to see our mess. So we keep it buttoned up in front of people. And this man is in front of all of these people having to make this decision and having to weigh all of these options. I'm risking my reputation. I'm risking my name being changed. I'm risking not the ability or the possibility of not being able to come back into this setting anymore because now I'm dishonored. And then this woman, she done unlaced my shoes and then done spat in my face. He's having to make all of these decisions while processing this. And he's thinking, do I go along with it so I don't look bad and mess up what's already good, or do I let it go? When you are worried more about what people may say, what they may think, and what they may feel about you, you risk the possibility of keeping things that were never meant for you. Come on here. Can anybody relate to that? I've been struggling with what they may think. I've been struggling with what they may say. I've been struggling with what it may look like, to the point that I'm trying to hold on to something that was never meant for me to hold on to. And it's causing me more heartache. It's causing me more frustration. It's causing me more pain than I actually signed up for. And all I had to do was let it go. And I need for you to look at the kinsman's response. I'm going to read it to you in verse 6. And the kinsman said, I cannot redeem it for myself, lest I mar my own inheritance. Watch this, what he's saying now. I need for you to really catch this. So basically what he's saying is, there are some things that can benefit me from this transaction. He said, but in the long run, it's going to mess up my good thing. How many times have we made decisions for the momentary benefits, but it messed up our good thing? Come on here. How many times have I chose him over God? How many times have I chose her over God? And then I only find out it messed up my good thing that I had going on. Come on. Can anybody relate to that? I've made some decisions because of what it looked like, because of what it felt like, because of what I thought was losing, only to find out it was just messing up my good thing. It was messing up the thing that I knew I could count on. It was messing up some of the relationships in my family. Now me and my mama are not even on speaking terms because I chose him over her. I flipped out on her over him. I got mad when she told me the truth over him, but I came to find out she was my good thing. Come on here. I came to find out when my back was up against the wall, she was going to be right there because she was riding with me through the good and through the bad. Everything that you give up is not a loss. I need for somebody to catch that right there. Everything, I need for you to just tell yourself that everything that I had to give up was not a loss. Think about some of the stuff you had to give up that you thought was a loss. God is sending this message to you today to let you know you've lost nothing. That needs to be some of y'all's status for the day. I ain't lost nothing, baby. It might didn't feel good, but I ain't lost nothing. Everything you give up is not a loss, especially if it manifests as the will of God. I need for somebody to catch that, because some of us can admit, since I gave that thing up, I'm closer to God than I was before. Can we get any witnesses on that? Can I get some virtual hand waves or type it over in the chat section? Since I gave that thing up, I'm better, I'm stronger, I'm wiser than what I was. It didn't feel good, but I'm better, I'm stronger, I'm wiser. It's brought me into that place with God that I've been trying to get into. I was struggling when I was with them. I was struggling when I was holding on to it. It was all messed up. But now that I chose to let it go, I'm better, I'm stronger, I'm wiser. I never would have made it. And some things you had to give it up so you could get what God had for you. You can go ahead and put away your boxes of Kleenexes. You can stop posting subliminal messages, because some things God meant for you to let it go. He wasn't going to take it. He wasn't going to stop it. He wanted you to let it go. The will of God could not have been done and not have been made manifest if the kinsman had not assessed his ability. The kinsman thought about what he had to lose. He said, I can benefit from this. I'm going to have more in my portfolio. He said, but if I put this in my portfolio, it's going to mess that up. He said, so I'm going to pass. And you might be like, well, according to custom, they were supposed to dishonor him. Ruth was supposed to spit in his face. How does he know that he made the right choice to let it go? Has anybody ever asked yourself that question? I made a choice, and I knew I knew, when I first did it, I was okay when I first did it. But as I started going on, I started having some withdrawal symptoms. I started missing something, and I felt like something wasn't right because I wasn't getting the feeling that I used to get. And I'm wondering, did I really make the right choice? Should I have stayed in the relationship? I know that me and God got this thing going on like me and Mrs. Jones, but I am missing Tyrone. But how do I know I made the right decision? How do I know I did the right thing in letting it go? Because watch this. This is how you gonna know that you did the right thing and you got confirmation today, tomorrow, and forever. Because when you find yourself in a position that you have more than what you had when you was with the person, when you held on to the job, when you see that you got more and the things that were supposed to happen did not happen, those are clear indications that you did the right thing at letting it go. I got more money. I got more joy. And for some of y'all, it wasn't even about the money. It wasn't even about the financial stability. I just got more peace. Is there anybody that says, I got more peace than I had before? And your peace is priceless. The things that were supposed to happen to this kinsman did not happen. He did not get publicly denounced. I need for somebody to hear that. Just because you let the man go, don't mean your bills ain't going to get paid. Just because I had to let this go doesn't mean that that's the automatic result that I'm going down. I've had to let some clients go, but my business still gonna prosper. I had to make some hard decisions. I risked my character. I risked my integrity. I risked my I risked my image because I wanted them to see me like this. And because of this decision, they see me in a whole different light. I need for somebody to catch that. They see me in a whole different light. Everything that law said, everything that statistics said, everything that society said was supposed to happen. The relationship ended, so your children are going to automatically be bad in school. No, when I let this thing go for the glory of God, I decree blessings upon my children. I decree that my daughter is healed. I decree that my son is whole. Come on here. Because I did the will of God. This ain't going to happen on my watch. Not as I walk in obedience. I might be in a hard place, but I know what season I'm in. Things ain't happening the way that I want them to happen, but I'm still going to ride. And watch this, what he did. The kinsman, he took off his shoe. He said, if I take on this responsibility, if I take on this for the benefit of that, it's going to mess up something else. And he said, I can't do that. But since you said that you would do it, it was custom It was custom. And I hear the Spirit saying this. I got to go back to this. How do we know that what we let go of was in the will of God or not? When you find yourself doing something different than what you promised God you was going to do, most likely it's not the will of God. If I got to do things now to please you, which means I'm shortchanging God, I got to let you go. I got to let it go. Because what I cannot do is mess up my good thing. What I cannot do is mess up the thing that I know I can count on when all hell is breaking loose in my life. I got to let it go. As I said, all the things that were supposed to happen to the man, it did not happen to him. But what did happen to him was Boaz took on Ruth. He took on responsibility for Ruth. Some of us felt hurt because the person that we thought was forever dishonored us. Come on here. They dishonored us. They didn't do right by us. But how many of us know that when we are in the will of God, all things work together for good? Come on here. I just need for somebody to type it over in the chat section. That worked for my good too. The heartache, it worked for my good. The frustration, it worked for my good. The pain, it worked for my good. The disappointment, it worked for my good. It worked for my good too. That worked for my good too. The tears I had to cry, it worked for my good too.